Official, unofficial, official, unofficial, official, unofficial. It's definitely not official. Official, unofficial, official, unofficial, official, unofficial. It's Jess.
Hello and welcome to the official Unofficial New Girl podcast, episode 1, the podcast where we unofficially watch and review every episode of New Girl season 1. I'm one of your hosts, Ben, and with me today we have one of my other co-hosts. Who's that guy? It's Al. How you doing, Al?
Doing great.
That's good, buddy. And our other amazing co-host, who's that girl? It's Erica. What's up,
What's
Erica?
up? Hi, Ben.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Welcome along. Are we super excited?
Absolutely.
Episode
Very excited.
1. It's been in the works for so long. I'm so excited. It's nice to actually finally be here.
It is.
Alrighty. So first off, I thought we'd just have a chat just around everyone's history with the show. So we might kick it off with you, Al. So if you want to tell us a little about your history with New Girl.
So I started watching the show when it first aired, and then kept watching every week as it was airing until I think, if I'm not mistaken, they took a year off, and that's the last season I watched, I think. So I just have yet to watch the final season.
Oh, nice. Awesome. And what about you, Erica?
So it was always a show that I wanted to watch when it came out, and it was just kind of like I'm like, oh, I really want to watch that show, and I just never had time and never watched it. And when quarantine came around, it was like, hey, I have all this free time to watch all these shows I've always wanted to, and it was the first one I did, and I think I watched all of it in about 2.5 weeks. So that was basically it.
That's
I'm pretty
impressive.
sure I've watched it twice now, all the way through. So it is pretty fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, mine's very similar to Al. So I started watching when it first aired. Just sort of fell off at some point. Just something else obviously came out that I never got around to getting back to it. I feel like I've seen most of it, but yeah, I don't think I've actually seen the final season. So super excited to get to that. So it's good to have some obviously different history with the show there. So it's super exciting. So I thought we'd just take a few minutes just to go through and have a wee chat just around obviously the show and the format and how it's all going to work. So for people watching, really what it is just three best friends just going through and reviewing every episode of season 1 of New Girl, and just obviously having a bit of an in-depth chat about it. So in terms of spoilers, so we won't be doing any major story spoilers, so that's important to sort of cover up. But obviously in terms of Al and Erica, did you want to have a wee chat about obviously the show in general as well and your sort of thoughts around it?
I mean, I'm just excited to sit here and talk about, everything with you guys. I think it's going to be a new kind of different way to look at the show, and I really hope that everybody enjoys what we've come up with.
I'm very excited to finally have people to talk New Girl with, because even as it was airing, nobody was really watching it. It was just, it was very exciting.
Yeah, it's just super exciting. It's been, like I said, a long time coming, so it's good to finally be here and actually going through them all. So, oh, good. So today we will be discussing New Girl, episode 1, the pilot. Woohoo! So this one is written by Elizabeth Merriweather. You might know her from, I believe she did the movie or wrote the movie No Strings Attached. Either of you seen that? Yeah.
I've not. Big surprise. I don't watch movies very often, so.
That's right. And directed by Jake Kasdan. So Jake Kasdan has done a lot over the years. So we've got Walk Hard, Jumanji, The Next Level, Freaks and Geeks.
Wow.
Fantastic show. Undeclared, another great show. Orange County, Grosse Pointe, Sex Tape, Bad Teacher, and Californication.
Wow.
So quite the list there. So episode 1 aired on the 20th of September 2011. So in terms of the people starring in the episode, so first off, now I hope I pronounce this right. The lead, Zoe Deschanel, is that how are we saying that correctly?
Yay.
Yay! As Jessica Day. We've got Jake Johnson as Nick Miller. We've got Max Greenfield as Schmidt. We've got Damon Wayans Jr. as Coach. We've got Hannah Simone as Cece. But then we've got a whole bunch of interesting ones here. So we've got apparently some people in the show. We've got just hot hostess, cab driver, woman on bike, We've got Benjamin, which is being played by the turtle guy from Community, and then we've got just groaning boy. So a very interesting mix of people.
Some of my
Um,
favorite parts.
Yes. So I think we might just get into it. So first off, we're just going to go through and just do a bit of a recap and general discussion, and then, like we talked about, we've got some fun segments, and then obviously we'll give our final thoughts and ranking of the episode. So to begin, we cut to Jess talking in a chair explaining her story. She's in a taxi going to her apartment to surprise her boyfriend. So all I've got here is tiger boobs and doing sexy stuff with the plant scenes.
Yeah.
Such a great scene.
Great scene.
Great scene.
So yeah, very entertaining and obviously very awkward for poor Jess. So obviously Jess is doing a dance, and then we find out that sadly her boyfriend has been cheating on her.
Mm.
So what did you both think of this? The start, I guess, the very, very start of New Girl.
I think it's a place that I don't want to say we've all been, but I mean, it's pretty close. I can't say that I've done a sexy dance with a plant, but I mean, I can't say I've had that awkward situation where it's like, you're cheating on me. This sucks. And while it's not a ribbon that falls on the floor, it's usually my jaw instead. So we'll go with that. But I mean, I feel like it's a very familiar story that we can all sort of relate to in one way or another, which really kind of just hooks you in right off the bat.
And it sets the perfect tone for the show, because like you're laughing at it being so funny, and then you're just like that. The sort of contrast between just that funny moment and that sad moment is like, okay, this is that kind of show now. So you kind of get an idea of what kind of show it is, I think.
Also, just being completely awkward, which is something I personally can relate to on this level up here. Yeah, she's my soul sister.
And while Erica doesn't do sexy dancing with plants, I exclusively do sexy dancing with plants. So I can relate to that. Now we also get the "Who's That Girl" theme song incorporated into the dance, which is
Very
something
true.
I completely forgot about. So we cut to Jess back in the chair, and then just asking, "I'm sorry, what was the question?" With Nick replying, "Do you have any pets?" So a fantastic opening. So that was a great way to start the series. And then we cut to the actual opening theme song, and just a bit of general discussion back in the apartment. We get Schmidt taking his shirt off and acting what we'll find out to be very Schmidt-like. So we get the introduction of the Douchebag Jar for his line, "LLS, ladies love Schmidt." So we learned that Nick was dumped, and we get a nice little flashback of Nick just covering his ears and just yelling, "I can't hear you. That means we can't break up." Which might be the most relatable Nick moment for me. What about you both? How did you sort of feel about the introduction to some of these characters?
Yeah, the Nick moment is also, I want to say, pretty relatable, which I feel is part of how this show really, really hooks you, is that while as crazy as some of these stories are, they're all so relatable, which is fantastic. I mean, I totally have, again, we've all been there going, I can't hear you. If I can't hear you, it's not true. It can't be happening. If I can't hear you, I mean, we've all been there. It happens. We can't, we do silly things like that and then just hope things aren't real. And yeah, it definitely has happened. And we all have that friend who makes up goofy initials for things, and you're just like, God, you're an idiot. Yeah.
We sure do.
Yeah. And it says, like, why didn't I think of making a douchebag jar for my friend? That would have been perfect. I could have been a millionaire. Yeah.
Exactly.
What about you, Al? How did you feel about the scene?
I loved the introductions to the characters. Very instantly relatable. Again, just to echo what Erica was saying, definitely relatable.
Yeah, I think you can see yourself in a bit of all of the characters, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now then we get the kind of going back to the Jess interview, talking to obviously everyone in the apartment about how she'll probably be watching Dirty Dancing for about 5 to 6 times a day. And then cut to the discussion in the bathroom about if Jess can move in or not. So this to me was probably one of the standout scenes. This is pretty hilarious. Obviously the banter back and forth between these people we're going to get to know very well soon. Especially obviously Nick's still pretty raw. Even after 6 months from his breakup, there was some very interesting moments in there, which I'm sure we'll talk about in some of the segments later. But how do you feel about this discussion scene in the bathroom?
I mean, I think the biggest point here was Schmidt really going, but models, you know. I mean, he really makes a valid point, but models, like,
Right.
when you're living with 3 guys and the new girl roommate has models as best friends, and yeah, I really can't make an argument there.
Yeah, I loved Nick's line about obviously he's talking about the pros and cons of women. They'll ruin your life if you'll let them. They'll break down your will to live, and then it's like pros, great at folding.
Yep, great at folding. Makes a fair point. I am a fantastic present wrapper. I can fold things like no other.
I'm so bad at rapping. I'm so bad. So obviously after the discussion, it's decided that Jess will be moving in, which is very exciting. And then we cut to Jess crying, watching Dirty Dancing. Some great stuff in here. So obviously Jess is on the phone talking to her mum and asks Nick, "Hey, are you going to murder me because you're a stranger I met on the internet?" Nick's response, "Yes, I am." And then we get a very interesting moment with obviously Jess crying and Coach trying to handle the situation, just stepping in, trying to take charge. And then just obviously just the stop it scene. Stop it! Stop it! And then obviously just making things 1,000 times worse. So pretty hilarious and sort of great character setting up there, which is all good. We've got obviously Schmidt then trying to take in and then trying to help out. We get some hilarious Middle Earth references from Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
And I believe the line is, what was it? Smeagol, right? Except Smeagol, he lives in a cave.
Okay.
So yeah, just some great banter back and forth, like so, just some great character development there, which is fantastic. And then we sort of go through and obviously just get some scenes with Nick just obviously discussing with Jess about did she actually create her own theme song?
Little did he know that's going to happen quite a lot, actually.
It's definitely one of the great moments. Then we get some stuff with looks like I think Jess obviously in the shower, pulls back the shower curtain and gets out wearing a bright pink swimsuit. And then Schmidt just talking about, I know you really want to go to the party, but wouldn't it be better to find a girl who you really care about to motorboat? Then maybe if you're super lucky, you'll find a girl who will motorboat you right back. And then we get the discussion about whether Jess actually knows what motorboating actually is.
Yep.
Oh, that's fantastic. Then obviously we get this kind of back and forward with obviously Coach just talking to Jess about how I think it was his boss who had actually told him, you can't talk to women. You need to sort something out. We get the flashback of Coach yelling at his gym client and having this kind of heart-to-heart with Jess about seeing if Jess can help her with obviously his situation, which goes very interestingly. So this great back and forth, which I'm pretty sure just ends up in Coach just yelling, "Who cares?"
And just
And then, yeah, Jess's hair on fire. Yeah.
Your hair's on fire.
I believe she was explaining jeggings to him, and then he screamed, "Who cares?"
Yeah. Now this is where we get our first cut to the bar, which we're going to see, obviously, the place where we find out later that Nick works. We get an interesting scene of Jess trying to smile, which might be one of the standout moments of the show. It's fantastic. And obviously just generally trying to be very flirtatious and obviously trying to get back out there definitely leads to some very interesting moments. We get a little bit of the backstory, obviously, around the Nick and Caroline breakup, and obviously Schmidt just trying to see if he can message Caroline so they can get into this party that's happening there. So in general, how did this sort of bar scene work for you? Are there any sort of stand-up moments? I'm sure there's a few.
Yes, I was very offended that they found footage of me flirting with people and put it in that show. Very offended. Just saying.
When she says "Hey sailor," that's
Hey,
yeah,
sailor.
that awkwardness is 100%
Awful.
relatable.
Awful.
100%.
Yes. So offended.
I love the glasses bit too with the
Yep. Absolutely. That is, yeah. I felt that. It's so, like I said, that's how they got you. That's how they got me. 100%. I know it's just, again, it can't say it enough. So relatable, this show.
Yeah.
But they really did do a great job in this scene, just with the building up of everything. They did introduce Schmidt's friend. What is his name?
Benjamin.
Yes. And him kind of, you set up that relationship really well with them too, on how you can tell that Schmidt's always trying to be better than him, even though you can tell he's 50 times worse than Schmidt ever has been. And that's a great scene with him, and they did a great job in this scene. And they really set up the bar dynamic very, very well between that, and then Jess actually finally flirting with a guy and getting his number 2 at the end of all of it. So it was very well done.
Jess gets a date with creepy guy with wavy hair.
Yes, creepy guy with wavy hair, Benjamin's friend. Yeah.
Possibly called Peter, I think.
Oh, is that what his name is, Peter?
Possibly.
Possibly Peter. I like that name, and that's how he is forever referred to. Possibly Peter.
Possibly Peter.
Good name. The Hey Sailor thing is my favorite one. Yeah. Hey Sailor.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. Again, that's the most relatable scene for me.
Nice. And then obviously we get a bit of back and forth with Nick and Jess, obviously just talking about some stuff, obviously mainly in relation to, how things are going with Caroline, and obviously that spurs them on to do something a little bit later that we'll find out as well. We obviously get some fun scene with obviously just letting them have Jess's moment, even though her panties are showing.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah.
So then after the bar scene, so we cut to the guys and Cece in the apartment. So this is, I believe, the very first appearance of Cece, Jess's best friend. So this is where we get some very interesting Schmidt moments and dialogue. So I believe the lines were, "Can I hit you up with some tea, a little herb tea? Oh my God, how good is that? For what? A little pea mint tea. Yum. Right. Hot, sweet, little tea bag action."
Yep. That's Schmidt.
So good.
that sums him up just there.
Tea.
We also get a very interesting line about talking about Cece's party hats, which, yeah. So after this apartment scene, obviously with the introduction of Cece, we then cut to the party where Nick was obviously able to get an invite from Caroline. So we see everyone just outside the club, just obviously talking, having a bit of dialogue there. We get that moment with Nick and Caroline, just Nick getting some closure, I guess, is the main thing here. So actually finally having the courage to ask that question that Jess had obviously asked him earlier in the bar about, why they did actually break up, so you can get that kind of resolution there. So how did this sort of work for everyone?
I always think that the closure part is good. I mean, I think it's probably better to get it 6 months earlier, Nick, but I'm glad that he could finally attempt to get some closure from Caroline, because you can definitely tell whenever he's talking to her that she still has his hooks in him. That's for sure.
Absolutely. We also get a bit of dialogue now. We see Schmidts Friends from the bar come up, and this is where we find out that sadly, possibly Peter stood Jess up for their date, and she's just sitting waiting at the restaurant. And so this is where we get a kind of sweet moment, actually, of Nick coming to the realization that he needs to be there for a friend and that he's kind of letting go a little bit of what had happened with Caroline there. So quite a nice wee moment there. So as the two of them sort of rush off, obviously Schmidt's a little bit hesitant too. He's looking to the party and to see what's going on there. And then we cut to the restaurant for what might be my possible standout moment there. So is there anything that anyone sort of has to add on that moment before we move on to the final scene?
I just thought it was very funny, that moment with the slow motion model in costume jumping, waving at Schmidt. That's definitely something, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Perfect.
So then we cut to the restaurant with Jess just sitting there, sadly alone. She's been stood up. We've got the waitress coming over, and just obviously just saying that she kind of needs to leave now. And this is where we get the whole crew coming in to the rescue for the day, and it's a fantastic moment. And so I think probably the big standout here is obviously where I think it's believed that Nick actually initiates it, where he starts to sing "Time of My Life."
Yep. Before that, he says they're reverse Mormons.
Yes.
And they're all her boyfriends. That's definitely in my notes because that made me laugh out loud.
Oh, that's a great line. That's a great line. And so all of them just join in and just sing "Time of My Life," and it's fantastic. Obviously cheering Jess up.
Yeah.
And then we cut to everyone in the apartment watching Dirty Dancing before the end credits. Yeah. All right, so that's pretty much the end of the episode. Is there anything that we might have missed there?
I think you covered it pretty well there.
Yeah. Yep, no, I think that's pretty much everything. So now we have some very exciting, fun segments that we're actually going to go through. Woohoo! So the first segment we're going to sort of go through is the douchebag jar. We'll be picking the most douchebag moment of Schmidt for the episode, whether it's a line or something he does. So I've got a few here that I'll go through, and obviously if you want to add anything as well, and then I think we'll just go through and vote for the douchebag moment of the episode. So I think the lines that I've mainly picked out here are the LLS ladies love Schmidt. We've got the pea-mint tea with a little teabag action. I can kind of see your party hats right now. They'll probably be the main three lines that I sort of picked up. But did you get any as well?
I think you got all of them. I'm gonna go my favorite one. I think you all know how big of a fan of tea I am. I obviously have my hot tea here. I have my green tea right there. I'm gonna have to vote for the pea tea with some tea bag action as my douchebag jar line of the episode. Yeah, that's gonna be my line for today.
That's a great pick, but LLS is just too douchey. It doesn't. It's too much. Like why turn that into an acronym?
That's true. They're all so good.
Do you know, I was going to go the tea bag, but now actually you've swayed me, Al.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, LLS is classic, and it is the first time the douchebag jar is used. I mean, LLS was my initial pick, and it would have been because I totally did forget about the teabag thing until you brought it back up. So I mean, LLS is going to be it, but the teabag thing is just too much for me.
Yeah, teabag is funnier.
Don't
get me wrong. But LLS is just too douchey.
It's too good. It's too good. Like I said, it was the original first time we were introduced to the douchebag jar. I feel that's fair.
Yeah, nice. Well, congratulations to LLS and to Schmidt for the winner of this week's douchebag jar moment.
The inaugural douchebag jar moment.
And our next fun segment we have is Coach's Corner. We'll be talking about obviously all the fun coach moments throughout the episode and pick on our favorite one there. So the ones I sort of picked up from there, I did really enjoy the Jess stop it moment.
100%. I'm right there with you, Ben.
Great.
Instantly shows us who that character is. It's fantastic. I've also got down there that I'm trying to help you, yelling at client scene. We've got the who cares moment in there as well. So yeah, I'll throw it to you first, Al. That sounds like that's probably your favorite, is it?
Stop is definitely my favorite because I might have have ever said that to anyone, but that's what I would like imagine myself wanting to say. To just like, trying to fix things and just be like, stop it. But Coach actually just says it out loud. Like it's way too hilarious to me because it's
I think I'm gonna have to agree with Al. That's gonna be my coach's corner moment as well. Yep, absolutely. Stop it. Yep. Stop.
It's like a
That was
child
fun,
just saying what they want to happen. Like it's stop it.
Yep, absolutely. That's got to be it for this episode.
Well, it's
Perfect.
unanimous. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Coach's Corner. The stop it moment is this week's Coach's Corner moment. So for our next segment, we are calling this one Nick's Tips. So this could be Nick's most relatable moment. It could be just something that we liked, obviously, about that character throughout the episode. So what we've actually got here is, first off, I've got a few moments. So I like the, obviously, the initial "do you have any pets" moment. I think that sort of just sets that up. I think also with Nick sort of just taking charge and obviously being the first one to answer from that, I think that was kind of showing what that sort of may potentially lead to down the track. We've got That's Baby Smooth moment. I really enjoyed that, but I think this will be my standout one, is the British accent drunk dial to Caroline. Hello, Caroline.
I still love you. Yeah.
I still love you, I do.
That's a great moment, and I do love when she calls him out on it. It's definitely funny. I think my favorite Nick moment in this episode, though, is when he says that we're reverse Mormons and we're all her boyfriends. Though that just,
That's great.
I mean, I will be the first to admit, and I know this is a common thing, most of my friends are dudes, and I have a couple of guy friends that I know would do that for me too. So I'm gonna say that's my Nick moment when he would show up. We're all her boyfriends. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely.
And what about you, Al?
most relatable Nick moment has to be, it's not really particular, it's not a line, but it's like his indecisiveness in the bathroom. Like like that's amazing to me.
That's incredible.
Yep.
Well, I feel like we don't necessarily need to have a winner. They're all amazing moments, right?
They are, absolutely.
So they're all winners today. For our next segment, we have True American, where we'll actually go through and pick our MVP of each episode. So I think looking at all that, going through all of that, I would say my MVP would have to be Nick for this episode. There's some great standout moments, some great character building already in the first episode. So I'm going to go with Nick, but what about you both?
I'll agree with you, Ben. Definitely Nick for this one, because he picks up, like, he decides to let Jess move in with them, and like he takes the lead, and it shows like that he cares. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. That's why I agree with you, Ben. I don't know.
Yeah, nice.
Nick is a great choice for MVP this episode. I'm going with Coach, though, just because throughout the whole episode, he just kind of shows that he's a hard ass the whole time. But at the end, he still ends up running off with Nick to go help Jess out at the restaurant.
Nice. Love it. Love it. So MVP for this week will be Nick, but special mention to Coach. But shout out to everyone, especially for the first episode, for a pilot. And we'll get into a second, but it was great. All right. Now for our next segment. This is a fun one. This is a segment that we call Hey Girl, What You Doing? Where we throw it to someone, one of my fantastic co-hosts, just to check in and see how the week's going, anything fun they're doing at the moment. So we're going to check it over to Hey Girl, What You Doing now?
Oh, I was trying to find batteries for my bathroom scale, and I checked everywhere and couldn't find the right size batteries. So that's what I've been doing.
Nah, buddy. Well, good luck with that.
Batteries suck sometimes.
I need to find
It's
them.
difficult, dude. You know, you got your AAAs, your AA, you know?
They're not even those. They're the confusing, like,
Those circle ones.
CR 2025.
Yeah.
That's not cool, dude. Well, good luck
No,
with
no
that.
fun. Good
That's
luck.
what I've been doing it.
Good luck.
Nice, buddy. Nice. All right, so I think we can probably actually just get into our final thoughts for the episode and our actual review of the episode as a whole. So we might just, like I say, firstly just go through our final thoughts. So Al, do you want to lead us off with your final thoughts of the episode?
I think it's a great pilot. I think again, like I said, it sets the tone very well for the show. Like you know what you're getting yourself into, and maybe other than Coach not being part of it, which we can get into if you guys want to do that. But yeah, I love it. I think it's a great pilot.
Nice. And
Yeah.
Erica.
I mean, I totally agree with Al. I mean, it's one of the better pilots. It didn't leave me going, I mean, maybe I'll watch this. I don't know. I was watching the second episode right after I was done with the first one. It had me in. It had the characters all had me hooked, and not only were they relatable, but also they did a great job in introducing everybody, all of the main characters, and kind of just really setting a good precedence for the rest of the series. Like you really knew where everyone kind of stood after the first episode, and it left you wanting to know more about everyone, which was a huge thing, I think. So it's a great pilot.
Absolutely, no, I completely agree. Like, so especially with the limited time that they have to introduce you to these characters, yeah, there's some real standout moments already for a first episode, and it really builds on that, obviously, going forward, which we're going to be talking about a lot in the future. So, no, absolutely thought it was fantastic as well. So, and we haven't given this any kind of formal ranking quite yet and discussed this, but should we do it out of 10 out of 10 Schmitties? How many Schmitties how do we feel about that?
I love it. I love it. So how many Schmitties does this episode get? I am going to give it 9.5 Schmitties out of 10.
Nice. Al?
I'll go 9.
Go 9? I'm going to go solid 9.
Nice.
Just as such as strong for a pilot. It's fantastic.
Such a good pilot.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Oh, good. Now, just to, I guess, go through a few fun wee things that we've still got left. So we have Jake Watch, which is every week where we sort of check in to see if we can get Jake Johnson on the show. Now, obviously, if it being the first episode, he doesn't know about the segment, but, you know, who knows in the future? You know, if you know him, if you're a friend of his, you know, just hit him up, you know, to see if he wants to be on the show.
Let
But
Jake
we'll
know.
check it every week. Absolutely. Hashtag let Jake know. And we'll check in every week just to see, you know, if we can try and get him on the show, and hopefully by the end of the series, you know, who knows?
That's the goal. That's the goal, guys. Let Jake know.
So now I'm just going to throw it over to Erica, who's going to explain a little bit about our new Patreon. Woo!
Patreon, guys. We are launching a Patreon. It will be available November 2020. We're going to have a bunch of tiers, so a bunch of options. So something for everybody. We're going to have a lot of different rewards for everybody. Community stuff, special things, you know, all the different things that you're going to find on a Patreon. But we are going to be launching that soon. Like I said, November 2020. And it's going to help us so that we can, you know, just obviously get upgrades to make the show better, make it so that we can do more things, and just be able to keep making cool stuff for you guys. So that's what we're looking for. And we're hoping you guys like it. So we're very excited to launch that real soon here. So
woohoo! Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely go along and check that out. Yeah. So I guess just in terms of the week to week, so we'll obviously be taking turns co-hosting, just some fun housekeeping stuff here. So if you don't like the sound of my essential Kiwi voice, we'll have some different people each week hosting and going through that. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. So yeah, has anyone got anything that they want to add before we head off?
People can go to theoupod.com to check out more things and more links and just wonderful stuff. You can subscribe to the RSS feed. You can watch us on YouTube. If you're not doing that, that's not how you're doing it, then, you know, you got other ways of doing it.
And follow us on all of our socials, Twitter and Instagram. It will all be on theoupod.com. It's where you can find all of the things.
Woohoo. And we should probably also talk about our amazing table read that we did with some incredible best friends.
Yes.
So that'll be coming up as well. So keep an eye out for that. That was an absolutely fantastic time. Yeah, so that's pretty much the end. So thank you so much to the amazing co-host. Thank you everyone for watching. Stay tuned, and until next time, keep it unofficial.